welcome to my channel. My name is Ceara Nobles and I'm the author of the upcoming novel Safekeeping. I am back and happy to be here after my break last week. We went to Florida for a little bit of a baby moon before our daughter is born here in a couple of months. So it was really nice to get away from everything for a week, but that did mean that I didn't get to film a video last week. So here I am, happy to get back into the swing of things. Today I am going to talk about my 3 hacks for staying focused while you're writing. These have been on the forefront of my mind over the last couple of weeks as I am trying to finish up the final edits for Safekeeping so that I can get the ball rolling on the publishing process. I'm planning on releasing this book later this year, so I've been right in the middle of finishing my final edits, and these hacks have been really important to me to keep me focused when there's so many other distractions going on in my life right now. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Hack number 1 is to establish a writing routine. A writing routine is just like a bedtime routine. You know, if you're having trouble sleeping, a lot of doctors will tell you you need to make sure that you have a good bedtime routine. Turn off the TV before bedtime, brush your teeth. It tells your brain that it's time to go to bed. A writing routine is set steps that you follow every time you're going to start writing. This has been really useful for me in the last couple of weeks. So my writing routine, every time I'm going to go write and I'm going to sit down seriously for a long span of writing time, I sit down at my desk. This desk is where I do most of my serious writing. I will write in other places sometimes, but whenever I'm really going to drill down and get going, this is usually where I do it. So before I sit down at this desk, I'll make a cup of tea because that caffeine kind of gets my brain going and gets me into the writing mode. Once I've got my tea, I'll sit down at the desk, I'll light a candle, and I'll turn on some music. The music I'm listening to depends on the project that I'm working on, but I really like to listen to film scores while I'm writing. The lack of lyrics helps me focus more, and so I'm not focusing so much on the lyrics but on the rhythm of the music. And for whatever reason, every time I listen to classical music or instrumental music, my brain just starts going crazy, and all of a sudden all these ideas come to me and it really gets me in the zone. So whenever I perform all of these steps back to back, it tells my brain that it's time to buckle down and get some writing done. For whatever reason, whenever I write anywhere else or whenever I don't follow these routine steps, I am not quite as focused. I can get writing done other places and other times, and I do, but for whatever reason, every time I do these steps is when I really have a good writing session and get a lot of words down. And a writing routine doesn't have to be super complicated. It can be as simple as turning on some music and sitting down at a certain place. But it really helps get you in the zone and get you ready to be focused and work on what you're doing. Okay, so now that you've got your routine covered and you've sat down to write, the next step is hack number 2. And hack number 2 is to avoid distractions. I can't even tell you how many times I have sat down to write and checked my phone for a second, and next thing I knew it was an hour later and I hadn't even turned on my laptop yet. So the best way for me to avoid distractions is actually to completely silence my phone, because it's like a nervous tick. If I know that I've got a notification on my phone, I have to check it. I'm sure most people are the same way. So it really helps me when I silence my phone and put it face down on the desk next to me. And I put it face down on my desk because even if I have my phone silenced, if I get a notification, my screen still lights up. And if I am writing away and I see my screen light up out of the corner of my eye, it throws me right out of the zone, and then I have to know what's going on with my phone. Sometimes, depending on the day, I'll even put my phone in another room so I don't even have to have the distraction or the temptation of distraction. Silencing your phone isn't the only step here. I'm talking about losing all distractions in your immediate area. So if you've got the TV on, that would be a good time to turn it off so that you can focus on what you're doing. If you've got family around, a spouse or kids or whatever, if you've got the ability to close the door wherever you're at and have that be a sign that they know that you're working and to minimize distractions, then that's a really good thing. The idea is once your brain is in writing mode, the fewer distractions you have, the better. Because if you're deep in writing mode and something distracts you and draws your attention, writing is a lot of work for your brain. At least it is for mine. So if there's a possibility of distraction, my brain wants to go to that distraction and it doesn't want to focus on its writing. So I like to keep all distractions to a minimum. And sometimes even my laptop becomes a distraction, which Makes that really difficult because I'm working on my laptop. So sometimes I'll even turn off the Wi-Fi on my laptop because I get email notifications that pop up, or I'll go do a Google search and then I fall down a rabbit hole on Google. I'm sure that's happened to you before. Anyway, eliminate all distractions, and that'll help you during your writing time to really be focused on what you're doing. So now that you've got your writing routine, you've sat down at your desk and you've eliminated all distractions, it's time to start writing. And that leads me to hack number 3, which is to set a time limit on your writing. Anytime I sit down for a writing session, I will look at the clock or look at a timer and tell myself how long I'm going to write. For some people, they work better in like 20 or 30 minute chunks. Me personally, I like to work in 1 hour or 2 hour chunks. It seems to me like once I get into the zone, it's a lot easier for me to stay in the zone. So I like to do it for a long period of time. Sometimes it takes me a minute to get there. Even if you're only doing it for 20 or 30 minutes, if you tell yourself, I only have to work hard for 20 or 30 minutes, it's going to be a lot easier for your brain to focus on what you're doing and eliminate all the rest of the distractions. So what I actually do is I will set a timer on my phone. And I used to set a timer so that an alarm would go off at that 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour or whatever. But now I actually use an app. So the app is called Forest. I have an Android, so I'm sure it's on Apple too, but it's called Forest. And basically what you do is it helps you eliminate distractions on your phone. So I will turn my phone on silent, and then I'll open the Forest app. And the Forest app, you can set however long you want your timer to be. So if I'm going to be writing for 30 minutes today, then I'll set my timer for 30 minutes, and then you get to pick what kind of plant you're going to plant, or what kind of tree you're going to plant. And during that 20, 30 minutes, however long your time is set, that tree will grow. It's kind of fun because if you try to get off of that app, it will actually kill your tree and you'll see your poor tree die. And so even if your phone is silent and you just get into the habit of picking it up, for whatever reason, it helps me to see that my tree is growing there and I've only got X amount of time left, so I put my phone back down and get back to what I'm doing. A lot of authors that I've heard will have a sand timer or a kitchen timer because they don't want to use their phone, and that's just fine too. And like I said, I did use my alarm timer on my phone for a while as well. I just didn't like the dinging at the end because if I was still in the zone and I wanted to go longer, I didn't want that to interrupt me. So with the Forest app, it doesn't notify you, nothing pops up, nothing buzzes, because again, it's on silent, once your tree is done growing or once your timer is out. So if I hit my 20 minutes and I'm still in the middle of a scene and I'm right in the zone, I can keep on going. The timer's gone out, but I don't know it. And then when I check it again, I can see the timer's gone out. And then at that point, I decide whether I want to keep going. So this tactic is pretty common, like for writing sprints and things like that. But I like to do it anytime I'm working. It helps because I can work really hard for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, and then take a break and go do something else, and come back and work for 30 minutes or an hour, and then leave and go do something else. So it helps my brain kind of have that refresh moment. So anyway, those are my 3 hacks to stay focused. I'm going to keep this video this week really short and sweet because I've got a lot of work to do. I am behind on my deadline for safekeeping, so I am in a hurry to catch up and get back on track with that so that I can hit my publishing goals for later this year. Tune in next week and I will come up with another topic that we can talk about as far as writing goes. I will talk to you guys later. Bye!